We're back with another edition of the All Beef No Filler podcast. I'm your host, Pascal Paul, Director of Scouting for Prep Baseball Nebraska. We're joined today by the head coach in his second season of the Millard North Mustangs, Coach Bob Hlavac. Coach, how you doing today?
Great. How you doing?
Doing great. We got no snow on the ground right now. It's February. We know it's going to probably come right before the season, so we're all prepared for that. But as of now, I haven't shoveled all year, so it's been a good winter for me.
On the flip side, we kind of need some snow. We got a new sod in our outfield, and we need some moisture. So we're
Yeah,
kind of
that's
praying
one
for that
thing.
snow early so we can get it done and
We
out of
haven't
the way
had
before
rain,
March.
snow, or no moisture for that sod. Nothing.
No.
That has to be tough for you guys. When did you guys put that in?
Well, it came in the fall. They did a whole revamp of our outfield. They skinned it and put new drainage tiles in it and leveled it. And then we sodded it, brought the fences in about 5 feet all the way around, and tightened everything up.
That's one thing I think around. I think you can contest to being at Millard West and now at Millard North is the fields around Omaha are getting a lot better. A lot more turf coming to Omaha. Even in Lincoln, we see a couple more turf fields going up over there. It's nice to see more good facilities around the area.
Well, as early as our season starts, I think it's a huge advantage to our players to be able to get outside early, and it's a short season. So when you have the opportunity to have turf and can play some games that normally you couldn't play on natural playing surface, it's great. And it's great to see that the Papillion schools have added turf, and like you said, more and more going up. I expect to see a few more fields being turfed maybe next fall locally here in the Millard area. Maybe.
Yeah, it helps for the overall gameplay. As you know, we're playing in sometimes 30, 40-degree weather with not the best conditions. So anytime you can get out there and not worry about the weather or canceling games. Sometimes I know the season's gotten down to few games early on just because we can't get outside and we can't play games. So it makes it tough at the end when you can't get those games in early.
Yep.
But let's get started. You're in your second year this year. Last year, I would consider resounding success, ended in a state tournament appearance. Probably started out a little bit slow. Take us through last year, what your team and you learned throughout the whole season.
Well, last year, and learn is the right word. We all learned. Kids learned, coaches learned. It, we had 8 wins going into the districts, and eight one-run losses. So the record was a little bit, maybe not quite a tall tale of what our season was because we were in a lot of baseball games. We just couldn't find ways to win, and we kind of got that. We got some good breaks and got some good pitching and some timely hitting in districts. At the end of the day, we were very, very happy to get to the state tournament. We weren't happy with how the state tournament ended with going 0-2, but quite honestly, we're very happy to get there and kind of get our name back on the map, so to speak.
Yeah, speak to that senior class. That kind of I know Carson Obrecht is one of those kids. He's now at Wayne State, but he was a big factor in all that. Speak to that what that senior class kind of did throughout the season and kind of help propel the younger guys this year that are going to be upperclassmen into more leadership roles as you go through the offseason and get prepared for 2025.
Carson greatly missed. I mean, we wish him the best at Wayne State, and I think he's off to a decent start up there right now, but greatly missed leadership, just being able to kind of get the young guys going and kind of give them some vision as to where we wanted the program to ultimately end up. He was by far one of the hardest workers in the weight room. He definitely led by example, and he was our senior leader. And we had some supporting cast on that senior class, and some of the juniors had to step up, and it's put them in a great position this year to be outstanding leaders.
You see at the big leagues, you have that fifth starter, that guy that can come in and destroy a losing streak. When I watched you guys, I felt Carson was that steady Eddie for you guys. If anything was happening, you lose a couple close games, he was the one that if he's on the mound, everybody had confidence, and they knew he was going to give him a chance to really be successful in that game.
Yep, for sure. I think Carson kind of had a rough start actually, and then about midway through season, he just figured it out. We kept running him back out there, obviously, because he's our senior guy. And towards that middle of the year when he threw, we expected to win.
Hopefully, those younger kids take that into consideration. Carson didn't have, like you said, the perfect year last year, but he kept at it. He kept working. He showed by example, and eventually he found success towards the end. And your team found success towards the end, making it all the way to the state tournament. Your second year of being at Millard North, a lot of success at the end of the year last year. How does that propel you or change the way you go about it into this off season, from the fall all the way into the winter now, where we're getting close to the start of the season coming up?
You know, great question. We have a lot of momentum. We have a lot of confidence as a group right now. We use the word believe a lot. We used it last year, and towards the end of the year, they started to believe, and I think that has carried over to this year. We've made so many great strides in the weight room. The kids have gotten stronger. Um, the biggest thing that I can say about this group collectively is they like each other. I think last year we had some clicks and this and that, and that happens in a first year program. And we've ironed some of that out. And there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of brotherhood going on. A lot of guys have each other's backs, and you can see it in the weight room when we're getting some weight on the bars, and everybody gathers around a certain player trying to move some weight, and we like each other, and we root for each other. That's going to be a huge testament once we get on the field.
Coach, can you change your phone to sideways for me real quick? Is that possible?
Is that better?
Do you have the non-rotate thing on your phone right now?
Shouldn't. Hang on. Let's see. It says it shouldn't be. Now how do I get back to you? Still not right.
Well, you can go back up and down. It should be no big deal. We should be able to figure it out on our editing side of things. The weight room can be a huge, I would say, equalizer for a lot of programs. And even you talk to any program, whether it's the Eagles that just won the Super Bowl, teams that win the World Series, culture is a huge thing. You don't have to hang out with everyone, but you got to like and respect everybody that's around. And I don't think I've ever heard a coach that's gone on to do anything, or a team gone on to do anything great, that hasn't first talked about culture, like, and being around each other, motivating each other. Especially, being a second year head coach, that's awesome to hear. Have you instilled that more as you've gotten in, the culture wise? Is that coming from you, or is that coming from more the players?
Well, we want to be player led for sure, right? And some of that has to come from us as well. And the one big thing in our weight program, we're very, very fortunate. We've got a very good strength conditioning guy in Jake Costitis, who's actually employed with the Oakland A's at the minor league level. He's a strength conditioning coach for their AA program. He has a small little business called 402 Performance, and he has been an unbelievable asset to our program. He's added to our culture, and I mean, he holds accountable to these kids, makes them work hard, brings some baseball knowledge to it as well. We do our workouts with the mindset that we're never going to give up, and doesn't matter if somebody puts a big number on us right away, we're not going to quit, and we train that way. So when we get into situations on the field, that nothing's too big for us to overcome. But Jake's been a huge asset to us.
I actually got the privilege of coaching Jake at Iowa Western, and everything that you said was what he was as a player as well. Extremely hard worker, really caring for everybody around him. I would imagine that he would bring definite culture to your weight room. And as we know, that's where it usually starts. The toughness and the culture usually starts in the weight room in the off season, getting kids to buy in and believe.
Probably the biggest thing difference from last year to this year is just the two words you just said is buy-in. We have huge buy-in from the younger kids, the freshmen that came in. I mean, they didn't really have a choice. They just were like, this is what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And our leaders, we kind of mix them up when they work out with the young guys. We make the freshmen lead some of the workouts. There's a lot of different things we mix up, so they don't just kind of get pushed off. They are very much part of our program, and we want them to feel as worthy as some of our guys.
And that state championship run at the end might have just what you needed, for this season. Obviously, you've been a part of it in other programs, and I think you alluded to at the beginning, just getting kids to believe that that's possible. That senior class, getting those younger kids to believe, and that might be all the motivation you need to carry the program for another 4 or 5 years. And little do those seniors know, maybe, if there's a state championship down the road, that they were probably the catalysts of all of that, just believing as an 8-win team, late on that they could do it.
Right. I agree. And I think that, we want them to leave behind a legacy that started a program, and not necessarily started. We're continuing a program that had been established for a long time, and we're just trying to take it to another level. And hopefully they can be, a very instrumental part of that legacy.
Let's talk about some of those players you got coming back. In our rankings, you got 15 upperclassmen ranked between your juniors and senior class. Some of those returning guys: Chase Mockel, Marcus Hankins. Speak a little bit about those guys returning to your program. They've obviously been there for a year, and your philosophy and your culture. What are those guys going to mean to the team this year, and how they attack the offseason?
Chase Mockel might be the best shortstop in the state that nobody knows about. I think his actions are unbelievable. Um, he kind of had an off-season injury. He's overcome that. He's back 100% now. We're just trying to get him a little bit bigger and stronger and get him more vocal on the field. But he's a very, very solid player for us up the middle. I think he'll hit somewhere in the middle of the lineup for us, maybe even towards the top. So we're very excited about where he's come. Marcus has just continued to build on some leadership characteristics. He's added some incredible strength this offseason. He's very much more demanding as a player and a teammate now, and really, really holds our guys accountable in the weight room. And it's been awesome to sit back and watch. Yeah, I look for him to do good things. He's an Augustana commit. They're getting a good one because he won't be outworked by anybody, and he's polishing up some of his skills, and we're looking forward for big things out of Marcus.
You got a couple underclassmen too that are pretty intriguing, and Carson Burke, who I don't know if he caught every inning, but he caught a lot of innings for you as a freshman. And then you also have Cam Johnson. Both of those guys a little bit on the young underclassmen side. Mm-hmm. What do you see from them as they step in to a little bit more prominent role on the team?
Well, I think Burke's going to continue to get some innings behind the plate for us. Him and Marcus will share some time back there. And Carson's unique. I mean, he can literally play about every position on the field.
He's an athlete, that's for sure.
He is, and he's so heady, and his instinct around the field is, for his age, is at a high level.
You know, when he was at the Hooper sophomore games for us, I liked his just calm demeanor. You know, he's around all of the, some of the best players in the country, and he just went about his business. I thought he had one of the best days down there on our whole team, and it was like he was sitting on a couch eating a sandwich. You know, it wasn't a big thing for him, which I was really impressed at.
Yeah, he doesn't let moments get too big for him, and I've seen that even more. You know, just as this whole year's kind of came to fruition, added some strength. He's actually grown in height. His arm strength is getting to be very attractive now, and I mean he's going to be I think he's a Division I recruit here soon. Some schools are reaching out about him,
for sure.
So he's got a big future, and he's going to be an instrumental part of our success this year for sure.
And when you look at your team, we've obviously talked about some returners. You know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the strength of your team is up the middle. Position player wise, you might have the best infield in the state with Ripken Fleck, Tanner Evans, Chase Mockel. You got not Colin Driffle, sorry. Caden Schaefer. There's a lot of pieces there that you can mix and match offensively, defensively to get what you want out of the team. How excited are you about that infield, and what do you see for all of those guys?
Exciting thing is there's only so many guys can play every game, so they're in a competition, and they know they're in a competition, and it's a friendly competition. They're all going to get chances. They're all going to get a play. We're very confident that any of them can play at any position, and I agree. We're excited. I mean, the middle is going to be strong for us. I think the corners will both be strong as well. We've got several different mix and matches, like you said. Kind of going to be at the end of the thing. It's going to be who's putting some balls in play for us.
Right. Who's hitting? Who's
producing?
Hitters hit. Mm-hmm. That's it. Hitters get in the lineup. It don't matter how good you are. If you can hit, you're gonna play. That's for sure. Especially at the end.
We're very fortunate to have those options this year. That's for sure.
Yeah, it'll make right in the lineup fun. You know, depending on where everybody's going, who's hitting, who's not. How do you protect certain guys? I think some guys are stepping into a little bit bigger of a spotlight, so it'll be interesting to see how they handle it. And you have a whole year. You know, you don't have to be perfect.
Right.
The other thing is not just you're positionally on the infield, but on the mound, I think you're going to give some people some problems. You got some Division I arms in Driffle and Noah Gartner that are just frontline dudes on the mound. What do you see from them in this offseason, and how do you think they're going to attack the spring as it comes?
Both of those two guys they've added some strength and some mobility, and just been working with them on the mindset of how to attack hitters and just, the confidence thing, and just, hey, we just need you to throw strikes, throw the ball to the plate. Like we said just previously, our defense is going to be pretty solid, so we just can't walk the park and throw strikes, and those guys both throw the baseball hard. And they're Division I recruits. They're getting a little bit of attention from some scouts, but they've got to go out and produce as well. So we're very excited to have them. and should be a fun thing to watch them guys go through the season.
As good as those guys are, you have depth on the mound as well with Mosser, Berg, Wade Spencer. You have a lot of guys at your disposal. So are you excited about the staff and your ability to be able to mix and match and make sure you have the right guy in the right spot to have success?
Well, the nice thing, we very much have some depth this year, and that's very, very important to keep arms fresh towards the end of the year. Um, our pitching coach, Brady Borners, does a great job with them as far as making sure we get rest and get recovery dates after they throw. And but yeah, we've got some arms and some arms that nobody knows about, which is great. And those are the guys that are going to take us through the whole season.
The Mustangs are going to sneak up on some people. Whether maybe sneak up's not the right word, but I think there's definitely going to be some people that are going to have to watch out for the Mustangs this year with everything that you got going on in that lineup, especially and then in the bullpen as well. With all those guys, talk about maybe an upperclassman that you really like the way he's developed this offseason. And, schools out there should be definitely coming and looking at this spring of someone that they should want on their roster.
I think I've got two guys that are uncommitted seniors, and they both are just two different guys. One is Zan Micho, and Zan's going to play some first base and throw on the mound for us a little bit. He's done a great job changing his body, but his biggest asset is his leadership. I mean, if he kind of just sets the tone for us. He's very vocal. Everybody looks up to him. He's kind of a warrior in the weight room. He was a football guy. Even though he was a kicker, he's probably one of the biggest kickers the Metro's seen for a while. He's a big kid, just demands respect and gets it. So he's a guy that can play corner and can throw for a college, and hopefully we get him some exposure here early on to get his name out there. And the other one is right-handed pitcher, probably play some outfield for us too, is Brandon Berge. Brandon has actually added a lot of weight on his frame. A 6-foot guy that's very twitchy. I think he was up to like 183, 184 last week when we weighed in, and came into the program at about 154. So he's added some weight, and while maintaining his twitchiness, he's still the fastest guy in our program.
Brandon's got a lot of experience too on the varsity level. He's pitched at that level for a long time with some success. He's when I've seen him, he's a 3-pitch guy that absolutely fills it up. He gets weak contact, ground balls. He's everything that you want if you're looking to win some baseball games. That's for sure.
3-pitch guy. He's a little funky with his delivery, but his mentality. He threw for us this summer a lot. He's a dog on the mound, and we look forward to watching his success this spring.
Yeah, you're right on point with that twitchiness. He's got a little bit, I think, of potential. Who's the kid for Elkhorn South last year? Tanner Forrest, who kind of was, the 80, 79, 81 the year before, and then all of a sudden he's 89 with a nasty slider and probably the best pitcher in the state last year. So not that Berg is going to have, that trajectory, but I think he's got a little bit of that in him where, people be surprised on what he can do this year after all the experience he's had so far.
Yep. Yeah, I look for him to surprise some people for sure.
What about in your underclass? Obviously they're not as recruited with the rules and nobody's like chomping at the bit to offer freshmen and 8th graders, but they're definitely out there and they're definitely working hard. Who in your underclass do you think has a chance after this offseason to really make a name for themselves out there?
Couple sneaky guys. Alex Bursch. He's just, I don't know. He's something special in the outfield. He comes to where he's really changed. He's probably grown the most mature-wise since last year. His grades have shot way through the roof. He's excelling in the classroom, which is hugely important to us. He figured it out in the weight room, and he just goes and gets balls in the outfield, and he loves to compete at the plate. He thinks he's a little Juan Soto-ish, but he's not quite there yet. But he kind of carries on that characteristic a little bit. But he's a very, very competitive young man. I think.
Go ahead.
What?
I was just going to say he came to our state games last year, and I was really impressed with him. Someone that I hadn't seen a lot of, but you had suggested to me and reached out to me about somebody that we need to invite. He came to the state games and really put on a good show there.
He's a little undersized, but he makes up with it. He doesn't play like he's 5'9" or 5'10". He plays like he's 6 foot 6'1". So I look forward to him. I think another guy that some people don't know about yet that's still battling through some things, but is Jackson Smith. I mean, he's a big, tall, strong left-handed kid. He's got a kind of that sweet left-handed swing. He stays compact, elevates the baseball a little bit. He can run a little bit, can play some outfield for us. So he's going to get a lot of innings. He's a junior this year, so we're excited for him. He's put on some good weight in the weight room too. So he's another junior that's That's very exciting. Then the Schaefer kid, that's a transfer. We're looking for some big things out of him. He's got to sit out a few games because of a late transfer, but towards the middle of the season, in the back half, he should be very productive for us.
Yeah, he's a physical kid that just
Cool.
hasn't really gotten exposure as much. Obviously smaller school kid transferring to you guys, but has all the physical tools to be a successful high end baseball player. That's for sure. I know he's been to a
He
couple of
hits
our events.
he hits baseballs that are just different. Comes off the bat a little bit different.
Yes,
So
yes. It'll be good to see him in your system and success along with a bunch of other players around him where he doesn't necessarily, not that he did before, but has to feel like he has to do everything.
right.
No, I'm excited. I think obviously you coming over from Millard West, I always felt that there are always guys that I missed out on in Millard West. Like just because you have a lot of good players. And Millard North is similar to that now, where there's guys that we definitely fall through the cracks just because you got the Gartners and the Driffles and the Carson Burks and the Carson Obrechts kind of that headline your team, and some of those guys fall through the cracks. So I'm glad we have an opportunity to give you a chance to highlight some of those guys that deserve it, have worked hard, and definitely have a chance or should play college baseball in the future.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you letting us come on here and talk and be able to give our guys some extra exposure. You guys do a wonderful job providing that exposure and covering some of these games and all the stuff leading up to season, and then what you do during the season. It doesn't go unnoticed, and we appreciate it as much as anybody. Trust us.
We appreciate that, Coach. Last question I want to end with is obviously last year you look back at the end and everyone wants to win the state championship. That's the goal, but only one team can do that. You look back last year, we talked about earlier, a successful year one. After year two, what's success going to look like for Millard North in year two for you?
It's a great question. I mean, obviously, the goal is to always win a state championship, and I think there's a goal just below that to get to the state championship. For us, we want to continue to build the program and get guys off to schools and make sure that they're doing well in the classroom. That stuff is very important to us, and it's something that we don't take lightly. Um, Guys don't make grades; they don't get play. So those things we also measure as success to the season. As long as we continue our work in the classroom and in the weight room and being good people outside of baseball, the rest of it takes care of itself. But ultimately, you want to get to that final game and see where the chips fall. And you got to have a lot of luck along the way to get there. But we look forward to competing and hopefully sneaking up on some people and having a lot of fun this season.
It's definitely a process, and you can't get there by having a bunch of bad people. They got to be able to do the right thing in the dugout, in the classroom, when they're not playing baseball. It's a whole encompassing thing that young, even older people, but younger athletes tend to figure out as they go. And it's nice to have guys like you out there teaching it the way it's supposed to be taught. Obviously, everyone wants to win that state championship, but there's a process in how you go about it. There's a process in the way you do your work. And I don't think everybody preaches that message. So it's nice to have coaches out there preaching that message that yes, success is success on the field, but there's a way that we can get it, and I'll teach you that.
Yep.
I'll say it, Coach. I'm excited as ever for the Millard North Mustangs. I think it's going to be a good year. You got talent all over. I think you're one of the best coaches in the state, and you're going to be a problem for people, that's for sure. So good luck to you guys in 2025. I'll be out watching a whole bunch, and it's going to be an exciting 2025 spring season for Nebraska with a lot of fireworks. I think the state's wide open, and I don't know if there is a true favorite this year.
There's a lot of good players around. There's a lot of good teams around. We're just hopeful at the end of it, we're in the middle of it somewhere.
Coach, nothing but success for you guys. Thanks for coming on. We'll talk again soon. Best of luck.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.